Welcome to the Long Distanters podcast with Chris and Maria. This is a podcast of two friends who live 2,000 miles away from each other and just talk about random topics. From the calls that we get, to what's going on in our minds, to some reviews that we just talk about. Today's topic is scam calls. So put on your headphones, crank up that volume, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the podcast.
So, how was work? Have you had, do you have any stories about work? Anything like that?
Depends. Which one of my 4 jobs?
True. Hey, I can get that. Like, I got 3 jobs myself. Like, hold up really fast. So, I don't even remember if I told you this. Did I tell you about what had happened with, well, did you read it? Because, like, I know I put it in the Discord, about what happened with my job, or not my job, but like the one that I just had an interview for.
The one that I think I saw something on your story about that you got hired or something.
Okay, so what had ended up happening is I applied for this job at some company. I can't even remember what it had said on there, like which company it said. But anyway, I applied for it. 5 minutes later, I got a text asking if I could do a interview over text, and like when I was free to do this interview over text message. And I was like, oh, if it's over text. Yeah, it was insanely weird. But I thought, I'd never heard of the company, and I was like, okay, it's a really small company, probably around my area, that's hiring. So like, cool, whatever, that's fine. And so I was like, all right. And so I was like, well, I'm free now, we can do it now. And so we literally had a short, like incredibly short interview, and they just stopped replying, like just completely. They she had asked me, like, it was insane because she started it off basically asking me to tell her about myself and what experience I have that revolved to this position, which it was a social media position, which I do pretty regularly, if I can speak. Anyway, so so I told her about my past jobs that have to do with social media. I told her about my current jobs that have to do with social media, and I told her all about that. And then so she'd asked me, she goes, okay, well, there's a lot of other people, what makes you special? And I was kind of thinking in my head, I'm like, that's a really bad way to phrase that. Like, what makes you special? Dude, everyone in this world is special. So like, what is that? Like, I don't know. That's just rude. But I was like, you know what? Maybe she's new to interviewing people. So I was, obviously I wasn't going to give her a hard time or something. But so I was like, all right, cool. So I answered the question to the best of my ability. And I said, what was special about me? And I was like, I've done this for the past 3 years. I say that I'm pretty qualified. A lot of my past bosses and like current bosses say that I'm almost basically excellent at at what I do. This.
Right.
And then she asked the same exact question. She just reworded it 3 times. 3 times. And I'm like, what are you wanting me to say? Like, I've literally answered this question 3 times, 3 different ways, and even because you've asked 3 different ways. And so it's like, so after the 3rd time, she just didn't reply back. And I was like, what the crap? Like, why is she not replying back? Like, and so I waited and I waited and I waited. And so about 40 minutes later, I was the one that ended up texting her. And I was like, well, it was really nice to meet you, so-and-so. I said her name. And I was like, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I wrapped it up because I was like, okay, obviously, for some reason she's not, but, maybe something was going on. And so later that day, like 10 hours later, I get a message from a completely different person. And it was a different number, different person in general. And they basically said that they were having technical difficulties and they apologized for it, and said that they had reread my answers to the questions and they liked how I answered, and that if I was still interested in the job, that it was mine. And that they'd given me it was a Google Docs questionnaire of all my different, basically, my first name, my middle, well, I don't think I don't know if they had middle name. It was first name, last name, phone number, email, my social security number, and a couple other things. You know, basically, a picture of my license to make sure that I was in the U.S. and all this other type of stuff.
Yep.
Well, I looked more into the company because I was like interested, and I was like, okay, like who would I be working for? And I looked into, and it's a multi-million-dollar company, and
Wow.
it's out of Israel, and well, okay, so it's an Israel slash American company, but their headquarters is in Israel.
Oh boy.
And so like, and the what do you call it? Oh, and then my payment is I would be getting paid $30 to $40 an hour.
Holy
30
cow.
to $40 an hour. That's like insane. And so like I did the math, and I looked up, a bunch of stuff, and I found out it was a cybersecurity place. And I was like, a cybersecurity place? Like, oh my gosh. Like, that's crazy. And so like I was talking to a buddy about this, and he was like, I'm not trying to discourage you or anything, but do you think you could honestly do this job? And I was like, I mean, if I, get trained and I learn, I think I can easily. I was like, it'd be good experience and everything. Well, today, I was about to, do the paperwork and everything and send it over. Well, I just had this really bad gut feeling, and I was like, this just feels too good to be true. There's no way this is real.
Right.
And so I talked to my mom, and so she was like, okay, you need to talk to your dad about this, so he can look up, more into it. So he looked up, super into it. He like looked up a bunch of different stuff about it. He ended up calling tech support, and he was talking to the lady, and he was like, okay, so I have a really, really weird question. Um, and he kind of started laughing, and he goes, so my daughter, and then he kind of went into it, basically telling her everything I just told you.
Yep.
And she was like, oh, she was like, I don't know. She's like, I'm gonna have to talk to the higher up people about it. She was like, but don't have her send anything.
Uh-oh.
He was like, she was like, because just in case, these are scammers, I don't want your daughter getting scammed. And so he was like, okay, awesome. I'll tell her, not to send anything like at all, until I hear back from you. And she was like, okay, yes, but wait until you hear back from me. And she even said, she goes, and if this is a scam, she goes, I would like to talk to your daughter more about this because that's not okay. Like, I
Right.
don't want other people like, using our company for this. And I'm like, so I was kind of thinking in my head, I was like, how big of a dumbass would you have to be to try and scam someone that's trying to get hired for a cybersecurity place? Obviously, someone that's going to be working for a cybersecurity place isn't going to be a dumbass and be like, oh, here's all my information, have it. Like, what? Like, no, we're going to do our research. We're going to look into it, look into who we're talking to, everything about it first to make sure, it's legit. Like, I thought that was like absolutely hilarious, but we haven't heard back from the woman yet. But I'm like 99.9% positive it's a scam, because who in the world does a text interview for a multi-million-dollar company and
Exactly.
pays you $30 to $40 an hour? That doesn't make sense, like at all.
Now I would
And that's
understand getting paid $30 to $40 an hour if you were experienced in that, like extremely experienced, like you've been working there for 30 plus years.
Well, that's
But
what I was talking to my mom. My mom was like, I know some people do pay that. She was like, but usually after college, like, and I was like, exactly. No, I get that. Yeah, it just sucks because, like, I was really looking forward to it. So,
my grandma was on call I don't know how long ago that she was trying to get the security system for her computer. And of course it was a guy from the Middle East, like those, typical scammers that you would hear. And she would be on the
oh,
phone with
yeah.
him, with them, and they send her the application. She has to pay X amount a year or a month to use the service. Well, the service didn't do shit, like at all. And she said I got ripped out of my money so fast because then once I tried to call them back, they didn't exist anymore, and
That sucks.
she had to keep paying something X amount of dollars on a month, and she couldn't cancel it because the company didn't exist anymore, but they were still taking the money out from her bank. It was
That
a heap of a
absolutely sucks.
mess.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Like, I couldn't even imagine having to deal with something like that. Like,
Yeah.
that would just be terrible. I mean, that's why you just have to be careful, who you give your information to and stuff like that, and do your research about, who you're giving, all your information to. Like,
Yeah. Well, how many calls that you've been getting for this car warranty thing?
oh my gosh. I can't even say. I literally was just talking to my mom about that today. Like, there's so many, like, it's either, okay, no, hold up. So it's not even calls that I'm getting. I'm getting these stupid, stupid text messages. I'm getting,
Oh,
and it's for someone named Robert. I don't even know who it is. I don't know any Roberts. Like, but it's someone named Robert, and I'm constantly getting it from Walmart, from Amazon, from they like the US Post Office. I mean, so many places, and they're like, "Oh, like actually, hold up. I think I still have one on my phone that I haven't deleted." Um okay, yeah. So this one wasn't for Robert, but this was the last one I got, and it was today, and it was AT&T. No, ATT. There's no and. ATT is giving you $200 as a thank you for your business, but you must claim it by today, and then they give you a link.
do you even have AT&T as your provider?
Um, AT&T. Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay. That could
but
go both
obviously,
ways, but
yeah. But I'm like, obviously, I'm not clicking on it. Like, I
right.
don't trust it. Like,
Now I've
but no,
had
I get a lot from like Walmart and Target and Amazon and like so many places, and I'm like, just shut up, please. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't want your free money. Like,
so I have T-Mobile as my carrier, and I got this one text message talking about some type of deal going on at T-Mobile that I should make sure I get. No, it was some type of update, not for my phone, but like an update on the plan or whatever. So I ended up calling customer service, and I called them. I said, "Hey, I just got this notification. Is this legit?" And they said, "Yeah, this is legit. Go ahead and click on the link." I'm trying to remember what it was. Some type of deals thing. It might have been T-Mobile Tuesdays.
I was gonna say, I'm like, is it something about like a phone, or is it like a phone?
Oh, you know what? I know it was. It was a security system.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
a security system for your phone that was by T-Mobile. And I
Okay.
said, well, I don't know. It just seems too good to be true. Like I want to put it on my phone, but maybe it's just too good. So I call customer service, which is the which is like a speed dial, whatever. And I said, hey, I got this message. Is this legit? And they said, yeah, we just sent that out just a couple hours ago. I said, okay, I'm just making sure. And then I downloaded and everything was fine. But yeah, most of the time, like,
Yeah.
if you have this weird link, call customer service. If they say, no, we did not send that out, then it's a scam. You
Yeah.
know, and then they know because then they'll have it in their records.
Yeah.
Another funny thing, I'm trying to remember another funny story that I got scammed one time as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't me. It was my mom. No, it was me. That's right, it was me. My mom was here at the time, but it was me.
Oh really?
Yes, and this one was scary. So this was right after we recorded the almost lost episode of Among Us after my car crash. I get this call, and so I answer it, And it literally says this: "We have a warrant for your arrest."
Oh, that's just messed up.
And it says, "Please turn yourself in to the nearest police station. We have the warrant for your arrest." I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Dude, I couldn't even imagine. Like, I'd probably be crying.
Oh,
Like,
I was.
I bet. Like, uh,
And I'm like, oh my goodness, what do I do? It ended up being a scam. It's just some guy was trying to scam me to push one on the dial to speak to a officer.
oh my
But
gosh.
I was like, you have to be kidding me. It was the worst possible time too. It was the
Oh,
worst
for
possible time.
sure.
Another call I got, and this one was the it wasn't scary, but it was weird and scary.
Yeah.
So it was the time my grandma was in the hospital for COVID, and
Oh, yeah.
I finally got free. I was all good, and I was on my way to work. I get this call, unknown number. I answer it. It says, "Stay at home. Be safe. Stay at home." Call ends. Like
I
it
don't
hangs up.
understand how you get some of these freaking calls.
I
Like,
don't know either.
that's insane.
And I've asked people, I said, has anybody gotten this call? Because this is around the time when that car warranty and the college stuff was started to kick on hard. And I was the only one that got it. And it was the weirdest thing because I didn't recognize the number. I didn't recognize which state that was.
Yeah, that's freaky. Like,
And I was home alone. My grandpa was in the shop. My grandma was still in the hospital. I was home alone. I was like, what do we do? So
oh my goodness. Like,
yeah, I think
some
that was
people, they just need to find themselves a life. Like,
yeah. This actually no. This wasn't when my grandma was in that. This was the day of when my grandma first went to the hospital when we found out that she had COVID. So then I had to quarantine because I
oh
was so
yeah.
off to work that night. But yeah,
Oh my goodness.
it was the weirdest. I get the weirdest calls.
I will agree with that. Um, I mean, I don't think I've ever gotten calls like that. But now that I think about it, so like the whole what do you call it? Oh yeah. So there was actually one time that I actually did get scammed, and it like actually really upset me. So like, you know, so you know how, I've started modeling and stuff like that, and I've
Yeah,
been modeling for the past like 3 years. So you know how I have a modeling Instagram. Well, on Instagram, for especially a lot of models, when you post pictures, you'll get all of these stupid comments being like, "Oh, you're absolutely gorgeous. We'd love for you to be an ambassador with our brand." Or like basically like a representative kind of person. Like, basically, we send you this, you wear it, take a picture of yourself in it, post it online, tag us in the post saying that you bought it from us, and then
ship it
that's about
back.
it. Well, no, you get to keep it. That was
Oh,
kind of your
sweet.
payment. And so, but at times, a lot of people would be like, "Oh, but you have to pay for the product." And I'm like, "Okay, that's just stupid." Like, but I found this one brand, and they were out of Greece, and it was a clothing slash like necklaces, bracelets, anklets, body jewelry, that type of stuff. It was like it was a jewelry brand.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. And so I messaged them, well, because they had messaged me first, and, you wanted me to, like, message them back. So I messaged them back. I heard, their little, spiel or whatever about, what they do, who they are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I told them, I was like, look, I'm not really interested because I don't want to pay for a product. Like, I really don't have the money right now. And they were like, oh, no, like, you don't pay for it. Basically, all you have to pay is the tax. And I was like, all right, like, I'll look into it. I was like, but, even with tax, you're all the way over, not tax, my bad, shipping. All you have to pay is the shipping. And I was like, okay, but with it being in Greece, like, that might be a lot of shipping. And so I went in there and I picked out, because they said that I got to pick out like three or four free items, and then I would put the code in, and then basically it would give it to me for free. Like, it would discount the entire price, but the shipping. Like, all I'd have to pay is the shipping.
Yeah.
So I got the 3 or 4 items that I wanted. So it was like it was different pieces of body jewelry. I think there was like a stomach one. There was a thigh. It was called like a thigh-lit, something like that, where it goes around your thigh.
Oh.
So I got me one of those, and then I got me I think it was an anklet.
Yeah.
And then I think I got me like a necklace too, or something like that. But I got like 3 or 4 items, and because that's how many I was allowed to get. And the price was going to be over $150 at first. And then when I put the discounted price in, it cut all of it off, and I only had to pay $9 for shipping.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, $9, that's a steal. Like, that's really freaking good. And so, like, I talked to Doug about it and everything. And he was like, you know what? Sure, why not? $9, it's not that much money. Like, And so I was like, okay, awesome, I'll do it. And so, like, I told the woman, I was like, all right, I purchased it. And she goes, okay, well, send me the order number. So I sent it to her, and she was like, oh, okay, And so she got my account all set up, because I would be able to start working for them as well as an ambassador, but I would also be trying to sell their product to people, and then I would get like a 30 or 40% commission from it. And then one of their things was, if you were the top 5 or the top 10 sellers in the company, they were going to pay to take all of them to one of the fashion weeks. I think it was like in Venice or something like that.
Yeah, Venice.
Or not, okay, hold on, it wasn't Venice. It was like over in Italy. And so I was like, oh, that's
Venice.
really cool. Like, and so, yeah, so I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, everything sounds really good. And so, I ordered it. And then so I was watching it and stuff like that. And then when it said that it had shipped, and I was like, okay, awesome. And I never got it. It has been over a year, and I never got it.
Oh,
and
man.
so, like, I messaged the lady who, like, was talking to me about it, and I was like, hey, look, like, I ordered this about 2 months ago. It said that it was supposed to be in within a month, and I still don't have it. And she was like, oh, okay. And she was like, what's your order number? And so I gave her my order number. And she was like, oh, so it says right here that we don't have your address. And I'm like, well, that's strange. I put my address in. And she was like, well, go ahead and tell me your address again. Like, and I'll enter it myself. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I gave her my address again. And so she goes, okay, I entered it. It should be there within a month. And so I was like, all right. And so I waited another month. And nothing. And so I didn't even bug her that time. So I waited another month, and nothing came. So then I messaged her again, and I was like, okay, look, it's been 3 months. I still don't have my products. Like, where are they? And so she sits there, and so she goes into this whole thing, and she goes, oh, we don't have your address. And I'm like, I literally gave it to you 2 months ago when you asked. And she was like, oh, I think she said something. She was like, oh, well, I don't know why, but it's not here in your folder. And I'm like, well, okay, well, you were the one that put it in, so, like, why is it not working?
Right.
And so she's like, oh, I don't know, like, I'm so sorry for this, this. And I was like, okay, you know what, whatever, like, here's my stupid address again. Just put it in there and, like, send me my freaking stuff. And so she was like, okay, like, and she was like, right away. And so it was, I think it was like 6 months later, I messaged her and I was like, look, okay, I'm not even mad. I really don't even care. But I told her, I said, but you guys are a store. You guys sell things. If you guys don't want to get sued one of these days, you need to seriously start shipping the orders to the people. I said, if not, I said, you're going to get sued. You're going to lose your business. And, that's about it. And but I straight up said, I said, but I'm done. I said, I'm not going to work for a place that it takes 6 months to get the object. I said, there's no way I'm going to sell this to my family and friends and be like, oh yeah, you can order it now and you'll get it in a year. Like that's ridiculous.
Right.
Even coming from another country, that's stupid. And so they sat there and they were like, and I think she just read my message and she never replied.
Oh boy.
And then I did actually message her back again. It was like I think a week or two ago, because I'd found her on my Instagram and I messaged her and I was like, okay. I was like, well, it's fully been a year. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm deleting you guys. I'm unfollowing you guys. Like, have a great life. Goodbye.
Yep.
And that's what I did. I got rid of them and I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to sit around and wait for this thing. Obviously it's been way over a year and I still haven't received it. So I'm never going to get this thing. So like, obviously it was some stupid scam, but I learned my lesson the hard way and, I'll never do that again. So every single time I get something that's like, oh, do you want to be an ambassador for my brand? I'm like, yeah, nope. Like, I'm like, I am not going to deal with having to spend my own money out of my own pocket and then I'm never even going to receive the item. Like, no, thank you. I'm good. Like, some people.
There are some YouTubers out there who try to, I'm trying to think of which one it was, who would kind of look at some scam stuff out there. And there was one thing, it was a charger, like a solar powered charger, like a battery pack that I think it was called TMobile. And he ordered it and it took forever to get to him. And he didn't even get it. He didn't even get the actual one. He had to get an off-brand one, which was basically the same model as the one that he bought.
Yeah.
But they never gave it to him. And so there's some companies that they just don't care. They just want to scam you just to scam you.
Oh, for sure. Like, I swear some of these people, they just get pleasure out of it. Like,
yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, here you go. Like, you're never going to receive this. And, they're over there just laughing their little butts off. Like, it's like, what, why? Like, what do you get out of this? Like,
right. Today's episode is sponsored by the like button. The like button is a very awesome feature that almost every platform has. And did you know it is no cost to you? Yes. In fact, for everyone who has pushed that like button in their life has never paid a single dime, a single penny, just to pushing the like button. But pushing the like button actually makes the video or the podcast more successful. So please hit that like button today and support your local podcasts. Well, I think this should wrap up our first episode of the podcast.
Yeah, I think it went pretty well, but I might just be biased. So
if you guys did like this episode, please leave a like and be sure to follow for some more upcoming episodes every week.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for listening. It truly means the world to, the both of us. Like, I know this has kind of been a newfound dream of mine to do this, and I honestly really enjoyed it. I think it went really well. And if you guys have any other subjects you would like to hear about or anything like that, you can comment down below. We're open to suggestions or anything like that.
Alrighty, and as always, we will see you guys next time.
Yep, peace.
Thank you for listening.